When we were Bobs, my name is Bobs, and welcome to celebrate the disappearance of my receding hairline. I have decided to discuss several aspects of my favourite band since I was 9 years old. I'd love to speak to you in Welsh. Hoffwn i siarad Cymraeg efo chi pawb, ond gan fod rhai pobl ddim yn deall Cymraeg, dwi'n mynd i siarad Saesneg. Ymddiheuriadau. I've just explained that due to the fact that not everybody can speak Welsh, I'm going to discuss my favourite band since I was 9 years old, Genesis, with you in English. And I've just apologised to those people who do not speak Welsh. If I were to show you this album, everything I've done, by the way, is completely random. I don't know what I'm going to do next. So I've brought records upstairs into the study. I've got a light here, and I'm not sure what to do with it. There we are. That looks dramatic. No, that's appalling. That's like talking of Genesis. If I were to hold this down like that, there we are, and put about 47 of them, it would recreate the reason I'm sitting here now. Namely, not this, but let's have a look. Can I get it? Can I retrieve it straight away? No. But this, there it is. But this, you see that? When I was 11, in 1977, I saw that. Saw that. What did I see? I saw this. And I thought to myself, wow, that looks really cool. And then you do this. And you automatically think, wow, who's that there? And you think, wow. We have to go back to the start of this video, not the start of anything else, but this video. This was randomly placed on top. Look at the guy. Now look at me. Look at the guy. Now look at me. What's going through his mind? Is he perplexed? Or is he desperate? What's going on? I've just revealed why I'm here. I've just realised I'm turning into small creep. I am small creep. Do I know what I'm doing in life? Do I? Do I know what I'm producing at the end of the line? Do I? Is this my day? We'll come back to that. I've got a deadline. I have to be finished by 8 o'clock, so this video's going to last approximately 1 hour. It'll take me 5 minutes to get away from this table. It's rather compact and bijou. That's the back of my chair, the cushion. This is the cover of Seconds Out. So ask me, please, what was the first Genesis song I heard? Well, the first Genesis song I heard was I Know What I Like. It was on a compilation called Music Explosion, which belonged to my sister. I can't believe I'm looking like small creep. Oh, Bushbach. Have to get some gel. Bushbach. That's just shocked me. That's appalling. I went out on the bike today in a desperate attempt to recover my youth. I cut my hair last night. I had kind of uneven hairline there, so I just went and it's just kind of sealed the deal regarding the disappearance of hair. I know What I Like is on this album, the live version, and when you hear it, you can't help but, or when you see it on a video, any video, you can't help but cry in joy, jubilation. But you see Gabriel sing it in 74, 73, and you think, you know what's going through his mind. He says, I've got to be theatrical to take away the disappointment of singing this chorus, which I don't like. So he acts like an old man again, like this, pretending he's got a lawnmower cutting grass. I walked out on the grass today, and we've had so much rain that the lawn was actually the soggiest I've ever trod on. Soggy. And if I were to reach for Genesis Live, we would be able to make a connection between what I've just said. Do I need to? No. Am I going to? Yes. because this is, it's right on the bottom. Well, on the top. Let's call it the top. I'm not going to say the words as above, ditto, ditto, because that may trigger me to put the whole thing down and say, I've had enough. Why am I discussing this? Because it's obvious as I've grown up that I didn't realise how dark my favourite band were. Gabriel's theatrics were dark, and as I've grown up even a little bit more, I've realised that Gabriel may be conveying messages which aren't conducive with godly people. Yet again, when you look at the visuals here and the dark themes sung about, not necessarily in every song actually on this album there are dark themes. The second song I heard by Genesis, I think, was Return of the Giant Hogweed. I had a friend up the road. In fact, it was Sam Warburton's uncle, Gareth, who got me into Genesis by sitting down by his stereo every day and playing records. And one day he played Nursery Crime, The Return of the Giant Hogweed. That was the song that stood out for me. And then there was another song called Harold the Barrel, which I name check on this channel. And they were contrasting songs. One was short, one was long, one was jolly, one was bizarre, exciting. And I remember asking in the church hall disco to the DJ, do you have Return of the Giant Hogweed, please? No, he said, but we've got Your Own Special Way, which had just been released as a single. Let me fetch the cover to that album. I pointed it out to my wife downstairs and she brushed me away, saying, I'm not interested. And I held this album up in front of her and said, it's distinctly autumnal and wintry, because I watched an amazing YouTube channel, Rail, which outlined the history of this certain album, Wind and Wuthering. But if you were to tell me, everybody, that Your Own Special Way hogs 6 minutes of this album, to the detriment of not having Inside and Out on it, or Pigeons, or Match of the Day, I'd remind you how naff Your Own Special Way is. I tried desperately to like it, and having given up, I can now tell you that is my not worst Genesis song, but the most disappointing Genesis song. It's got so much potential, but it's It's just such a drag. And that little keyboard sound in the middle sounds like something, I don't know. Where's, oh, the 12-inch single is over there. I've moved my 12-inch singles. It's got blue vinyl. Match of the Day, Pigeons, and Spot the Pigeon EP is called. It's just so beautiful. I'm going to get it for you now. It's such a beautiful, beautiful, oh, I love it. In fact, I'm going to keep it with the albums because we'll call it As Rail TV said on YouTube channel. He said we can imagine Kim from Please Don't Touch on it, and Please Don't Touch as well, and the other one, Neckham, the voice of Neckham or something, and Land of 1,000 Autumns, and why not Icarus Ascending? Hold on. Oh, Bosbach, what's happening here? The light's going off. Have I broken the plug? Yes, I've broken the plug behind me. Now everything's going off. It's all chaos. What can I do? I'll carry on. Am I going to go and get the Spot the Pigeon EP? Yes, I am. What can you do in the meantime? What can you do in the meantime? I can show my teeth. What do you want to do in the meantime? Do you want to go and make a cup of tea? It'll take me approximately 25 seconds to fetch it because there's approximately 100 12-inch singles piled on top of each other. Well, there's about 60 in one and 40 in the other. Shall I show you? I'll show you. There's a jigsaw behind me. There they are. There. They're there. Thank you for being patient. Oh, Bosbach, was a light going on and off. What it is, you see, there's a plug behind me, and the cushion is interrupting the circuit between wire and bulb. Bosbach, what's going on here? Right, come on. There we are. That's lovely. Look at this. I had it on 7-inch single originally, but you know, just look at it. I've decided, by the way, this video is going to be, I'm usually very over the top and very hurried, but because this is Genesis and we're discussing practically my autobiography, I'm going to take it very slowly. It's like small creep here. When he goes to see the rest of the factory, I'm sure he doesn't rush. I'm sure he takes a whole day to see what exactly what's going on, because his life has been compartmentalized, isn't it? And he doesn't know what else is going on in the factory. So likewise, I am going to spend the next hour probably just discussing this, because this is the one we started with, because I started with that one. That was my first Genesis album. And then we get to discussing this guy, and I'm quite happy with my explanation, trying to justify what I'm doing here. And you know, this was the first studio album that I was aware of. That was the one that had just been released before Seconds Out, the live one, which I bought, realising that The Return of the Giant Hogweed was a phenomenal thing, and Harold the Barrel. And then I bought Seconds Out, and just the cover blew me away. But then I spent the rest of my teenage years reveling in it, because when I bought the rest of the Genesis albums, I realised that this was immense. Okay, we're going to go through the songs on this album now, and I'm going to tell you. I wanted to show you this, didn't I? Just to see, for you to see. Because I've got this light misbehaving, I want to show you the beauty of a blue vinyl 12-inch Genesis EP, although that isn't doing it any justice at all, is it? I thought it would be much better than that. Marvellous. So we'll discuss Genesis Spot the Pigeon, and what you can do, you see, you can ask me questions in the comment section, because this will be at least for the whole of January. My childhood friend has written Joey's, which was our first band. We had a song called Power Chord. I bought a K guitar when I was about 15 for £25 off my friend. Okay. Never a word could be heard, not even the sound of a bird. Singing it over again. Let's have a look. Do I remember these lyrics as I heard them, or can I correct myself now? Never a word could be heard, not even the sound of a bird singing it over again, telling a different story. Never the same as before, see the summer going out by the door. And now that you paid for those lies, get another disguise, says the brother. And I don't even have to hear the song. I'm getting a fuzzy feeling already just by reading those lyrics. And now I regret to say, when you hear the song, you think, what was all the fuss about? But you know, and I know, only you know and I know. I've got to do that now. I've got to find the cover to that. Because in 1985, it came out and I was in university halls in Aberystwyth. And we knew that that was the sound of that year, along with Borderline by Madonna and the Colour Fields, Virgins and Philistines songs. And Weather Report, a remark you made, and Al Di Meola, Electric Rendezvous. Because at that stage in my life, I welcomed new sounds. Poland by Tangerine Dream was on my cassettes player in my room, but we took Phil and we sang Only You Know and I Know. I haven't heard that in years. I'm sure it's brilliant. And you see Phil Collins now making Small Creep look vigorous. And I was going to say this. I can't stand the day Phil Collins leaves us. It's going to be very, very, very sad. But hopefully he'll be with us for a long time. What's this? I haven't heard this, so by the next video I'll have made sure that I've actually listened to these albums, okay? We're going back to Inside Out. Not Inside and Out. You see, there's some synchronicity here, isn't there? There's some symmetry. Inside and Out, marvellous. Inside Out, equally marvellous. Fantastic drums. Great song. Genesis could have recorded that. Let's play a game. What could Genesis have sung? Any stage Genesis, what could they have sung from this album? Oh, it looks like the Lilac Time. No sad song, but it isn't. Only You Know and I Know. Yes, of course they could have. Susudio? No. Long, long way to go. Tony would have done something marvellous with that. I Don't Want to Know. I can't remember that one. One More Night. I heard it recently as I was flicking on YouTube, and it sounded beautiful. Really beautiful. I've got the 12-inch over there. I've got to show it to you. I've got to go and get the Genesis 12 inches. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. You know the score by now, don't you? I've just realised I've got Genesis 7-inch singles there. By the next video I will have fetched them. So I've got to discipline myself now. I'm not going to talk about any other record apart from can you believe it? It's under C, isn't it? I have to go back there again. You've got a ×2 button, haven't you? Press the ×2 button in case I decide to sing a song or something. I'm doing well. So here is there are two. Oh, Bosbach. I like the way. It's a great, great B-side. I just wanted to show you that one. Okay? Never tell me that Phil Collins can't. Right. Good B-sides. After No Jacket Required, I lost interest, but seriously didn't grab me. In fact, that I had grown out of it. He'd lost something. He'd lost that individual persona, and he'd become friends. He became too professional in his songwriting. It became too formulaic and not passionate. The suffering had stopped, so he sang about being serious. So I like the way, what a song. Now then, where is, I've got Separate Lives. Is that, We Said Hello Goodbye. I've got that 12-inch single as well. I'm sure I have. I'm going to have a look for that, because I'm sure We Said Hello Goodbye is on that, which is another fine song. I think I've broken the plug now. No, I haven't. I'm a fire hazard. I am a fire hazard. So, where have we reached in the production line? We've gone from 1977 to 1985, and we need to retrace our steps. We need to go back to Music Explosion, and I'll try and relay the shock of seeing this. Oh, I've just found it. We've seen We Said Hello Goodbye. Thank goodness that's on it, because that's a lovely sounding song. And frankly, this song here is the worst song on. It's the worst song on. I reached out for this thinking it was Phil Collins. No, it wasn't. Oh no, you're going to see the albums now, aren't you? I don't want you to see the albums, because it'll prompt me to talk about them. So here, Take Me Home. Now that was when I think the ideas, this last song, and if Genesis had done that, you see, it would have been so much better. The dynamics would have been far more flamboyant. And then, of course, I see Take Me Home as a precursor to the Collins tendency of over participation and over cod improvised crowd engagement. Freddie Mercury, he did it with aplomb, and he did it in certain situations I presume. Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, took it on board and used it overtly, not covertly. So I'm gonna put this away now. Oh no, I have to show you one more thing, and then I promise you I will just talk about the albums that we have in front of us, because I can't carry on like this. This is meandering, it's po-faced, it's monotonous, it's repetitive, it's borderline amateurish. Well, it's not borderline amateurish, it's amateurish. And yet I have so much to share. Stop looking at me, Philip. Stop, that's it, look away. I've got all these things to discuss, and what I'm looking for, go out. Hello, you good looker. And what are you doing? You're singing. Oh, how lovely. Marvellous. It's only today have I realised that that is a woman. I thought that was just a white light. Morning. Did he actually play live on this, or did he just do it? He did it in the studio, didn't he? That's a great bit of... That's a good photo, because it looks as if he's got a flower on his head, but he is the flower. The question I have now, was Nicolas Cage in this film? Doesn't say. I saw the film. Hold on, what's going on? Have we seen that? I've got two so's. So. Ugh. I noticed this today, right? We'll be getting back to this, don't worry, in part 17. But this here, look at that. That states a rebellion in the prog departments. They try to get it similar to... Where is it? Where's it gone? Oh, Bosbach. I can't find seconds out. I've had it 50 years. Where's it gone? I've lost seconds out. Can you believe it? I've lost it. I can't find it. I can find it if it's the last thing I do. Where's it gone? Come on, out you come. Don't be swill. There it is. Now then, you see this here? See that there? I mean, and whilst we're on it, because it's here, I've got to refer to this now. We're talking Genesis logos. Look at this here, there. I'll put that there. And I'll put this here. Okay. Now then. Despite the fact that I can see evil Genesis, I'll also relay a story to you. I mean, this was a marvellous logo. That wasn't a marvellous logo, but completely different. Quite suitable, really. It defines both the versions, the Collins and the Gabriel version, yes. So what my personal recollection of this is, about 2.5 years ago, possibly more, I bought a hat because I needed a hat. I was in Bruges and there was a lady selling lots of rock and roll memorabilia, and I saw the Genesis logo, this one, on a hat, the only hat they had left with the Genesis logo on it, and I bought it for €18. And believe it or not, I think we've all been duped. We've all been subconsciously, psychologically programmed, because that doesn't say Genesis, it says Sexorcist. At least the version on my hat does. And having outlined what I see in my screen now, Evil Genesis and Gabriel there, I think to be, as the bootleg told me in 1975, forewarned is forearmed. That scared me. Boisbach. I saw a Genesis bootlegger in 77. It was a bootleg of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and it was called Forewarned is Forearmed, Swelled and Spent, it was called, which again echoes stuff from that El Toro film, which then tells me, oh, we've all been played. So why am I talking about Genesis? I'm meant to be a godly man. Well, it brings us to the, in Welsh, Eilean Addoliaeth, this worship of, what do we call them? Heroes and false gods, I suppose. Yeah. So by confronting this now, I'm in a good position to be able to turn away from it and say, in a day-to-day Vox Pops, po-faced, serious manner, that God knows this already. So I can smile. It's just that I'm sitting here contemplating turning into a flower. So we were going to discuss this, weren't we? We were. And I'll put the others to one side now, like a good boy. This is going to be great fun though, because now I've got an actual focus and I've got 20 minutes left. Yep, I've got 20 minutes left to talk about One More Night. Now that's a great song, absolute great song. Imagine if Genesis had done that, funked it up a bit. Like you might recall. Well, it would have been brilliant. There's so many what ifs in Genesis story now, aren't there? What if only Phil had put I Like the Way on the album instead of Take Me Home. Okay, the gigs, I didn't see him live, play solo live. If only the gigs, he would have funked it up even more, wouldn't he? Maybe he wouldn't have needed to rip Prince off. Hold on, sorry about that, I just hit you, haven't I? Hold on, I want to sort this out here. Oh, here we go. Can I get that up there like this? Nope. this is small creep having his carburetor problem in it. I don't know what a carburetor is. Right, I know that's right, lovely. Marvellous. Hello. So, Take Me Home doesn't get any bonus points because it didn't resonate with me. It didn't resonate emotionally with me. It was probably very therapeutic for Phil, wasn't it? Look, he's having a whale of a time. Look at that. But like I said, we got a great B-side. We Said Hello Goodbye. That was a great song. Just simplicity. And we've checked this out. And don't lose my numbers. A hit in America, I believe. Not in Britain, though. Who Said I Would? It reminds me of Behind the Lines Phil version. I can imagine Genesis doing Who Said I Would, and really hard-hittingly as well. Long Way to Go is a bit kind of boring and repetitive, isn't it? But at the time it was quite fresh. Doesn't have anybody stay together anymore. I'd love Genesis to do. That's what they should have done. They should have done concerts where they sang each other's songs. Where Gabriel, you look back now, don't you, and you think, why didn't they just get on with getting on and mixing and matching? It's like football teams. You've got to take yourself seriously and train and everything, but you got to enjoy the game. You've got to enjoy your art. I almost said craft. You've got to enjoy your art. That's the message for me now. First day of 2025. I've got to enjoy my art. Yes. Am I wearing my Pat Travers t-shirt? No, I'm not. I went to see Pat Travers. Can do 2016 or 2018. Hilarious. We've discussed this, haven't we? Now, why is Match of the Day so low on the Genesis hit parade? Because it's a fantastic song, and let me tell you what song it sounds like. It sounds like, or it inspired, a song by Dodgy. If you're good enough, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Good Enough by Dodgy. Check it out and relay the message to Michael Rutherford that somebody ripped off his chord sequence on the guitar. Who put 50 tons of a scarf that far off his roof? Who suffers from 9 known diseases? Who wakes up in the morning and makes their beds? And the sun comes up and makes their beds of paper clips and bus tickets all around their heads. Who congregate around Trafalgar Square, taking pot shots at the tourists. I played that to my co-worker, Sawley Boy, when I gave him an introduction to the band that he calls The Genesis. And Pigeons. I asked him, can you guess what this song is called then? And played him Pigeons on the CD. Turn It On Again. Hits a tour edition with the 2 CDs. It's over there. I'm not going over there again. I'm going to make sure that everything I require is on the table already for part 2. This is part 1. I've got another 10 minutes of part 1. You're listening to part 1 of Genesis and Bobsy, or Bobsy and Bobsy Goes Genesis. That's what we'll call it. Or Genesis Goes Bobsy. That's that even better. Genesis Goes Bobsy. And that was taken, and he said I was going to guess it was called Pigeons, but he didn't actually get it before I said the answer. So well done, Sawley boy. That's Main Road, Man City. Who's Stewart was his name? Great winger. He had a receding hairline as well, didn't he? What was his name? Dennis Stewart? Correct me in the comments, please. This album, I've remarked about the cover, but at the time it didn't bother me at all. It only bothers me slightly now. But I loved this. I loved the rain reference and the mud getting soggy, as I referred to it this morning in my mind. That little short story. But seeing his hair is like that, but I didn't make the connection when I first saw Gabriel shaven head down the middle. It was at the bottom of the Foxtrot album, which I'm not going to show you now, otherwise I won't get round to any stories at all. So these are Corbettian stories. You know now why they're called on the playlist Corbettian stories. Genesis Goes Bobsy, part 1 this will be. And that doesn't frighten me actually, because just seeing a guy with a hairstyle like that, it frightened me as a kid. But I always, with the, there's that guy Steve Hackett there, right? And I always considered Genesis as a band who didn't have a prominent guitar sound. And Steve himself, of course, says that he was always competing with Tony's organ. But when you hear bootlegs of Genesis on YouTube, live recordings of that time, you realise how low the guitar is on this, because he had just left. And the difference is, even though it's an amazing album, I always thought they were a band. I was 12 and 13, that they were a band. I can remember thinking before getting, and then there were 3, that Genesis were a band where the guitar wasn't very loud. Interesting. And Squonk, when Phil refers to Squonk as a Led Zeppelin sounding song, no, not to these ears it didn't, because for that precise reason, that the guitar was, in my mind, on this version especially, now in hindsight, but it didn't strike me, it struck me as an organ-led, brilliant as it is, superb. And let me tell you another story regarding Squonk and the last song, Los Endos, which are bookends on Trick of the Tail, of course, which we'll get to. But it's only in the last 5 years have I realised that Los Endos is a reprise of Squonk. And Dance on a Volcano? I'm not sure. But I've listened to the song so many times, and familiarity has bred contempt. Or at least taking things for granted. Because the whole spectacle of listening to Los Endos was in its performance, not its artistic influence. It was incredible, so powerful. Thank goodness it's there. And also, you can't talk about Los Endos without talking about the drum solo. I mean, at the time, I was into the Muppet Show Animal Drummer, and I had biscuit tins and all kinds of things to hit and pretended to be him. But once I'd heard this was the inspiration for me to become a drummer. And when I was 50, I became a drummer. I bought a second-hand drum kit and put it in the garage and realised that I had to get my brain and my feet and my hands coordinated. And 9 years on, I'm the funkiest thing you could ever see. But I can't drum. I'm a funky thing, but I cannot drum, per se. But thank goodness for that, eh? Even though Phil is the best drummer in the world. We'll get back to discussing the rest of them. I've discussed I Know What I Like, and I'll finish with it. We started with it, and we'll finish with it this evening now. Because is there anything better than seeing Genesis sing I Know What I Like in every era? The last gig, I can't remember the last gig in London. They probably sang it, didn't they? They did. But it's probably their best live song. Would you agree? As a live song, because it incorporates different songs as well. And just to say, I haven't got Trespass for the sole reason that nothing can compete with Stagnation on I Know What I Like. I know it's controversial. I know it is. But this is why we must always take our time with records, right? If they're 50 years old, you can still learn and hear new things with them. So I'm going to listen to Trespass. I'll buy it probably one day. You know, I think Dusk sounds... Oh, I'll save that till next time. But this is why I treasure this. Robbery, Assault and Battery. Has there ever been a better live version of that? Possibly. But whatever you do, it's always better live than it is on the ploddy plod Trick of the Tail version. Afterglow. They oversold this, didn't they? They overperformed it. It lost its power. But a brilliant version on this. Firth of Fifth. Will we ever get bored of that song? No. The Lamb Lives Down on Broadway. Down, down, down. Marvellous. Absolutely brilliant. And the musical box, which I've never rated on this. I found it too multi-directional. But the old man is approaching and he's going to tell us, have another listen. Now, 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 now. So just remember to be open-ended and open-minded when you're judging your favourite band's songs. And that's why I'm doing this as well, just to remind myself how opinionated I am. And you know, comparing both, they're two different bands here, aren't they? They're completely different to each other. But I love the passion of the crowd on this one in Leicester. And I think the versions on side one, although I haven't listened to them in ages, just as good as the studio versions. Perhaps even better. The knife I haven't really got off on, really, because I'd heard Aerosmith Rocks by then, you see, and I knew what rock was. It's another compartment, another department, another discussion altogether. Supper's ready. It won't save you spiritually, but it outlines the powers that are at work, and that's why I'm telling Gabriel in a Partridge manner, remember, souls matter. And on that note, we return to... Oh, no, we must also discuss Cinema Show and Dance on a Volcano, which are absolutely awesome. The most powerful things you'll ever hear in your life, with Los Endos to end them. And here you go, Mikey R. And his disapproval of this album, or his underestimation of this album. Every road that I take is the same. Overnight job it is, boys. It's a fantastic side, that. It's moonshine time and time again, Romany as funky as anything. Every road is get your lighters out, and overnight job is the funkiest prog you'll ever hear. The other side's alright as well, but as per usual, I disagree with all those people who say prog must be elongated, multi-directional, and overcomplicated. Talking of which, I apologise. This has been elongated, multi-directional, and rather laborious, but I hope you see my passion, and there'll be another 10 videos discussing the genius of Genesis. Diolch yn fawr iawn am ddyhiriadau am y Saesneg. Hwyl fawr. Tan tro nesa.